You ever feel like you're stuck in the same patterns, exhausted from striving, or unsure how to truly care for your soul? You're not alone. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 17 of the best self-care books that'll help you understand yourself, grow in new ways, and maintain a life of peace and purpose. Hey friends, and welcome to my cozy corner of YouTube, where we discuss all things cozy, books, and creating a life that nourishes your soul. If you've been feeling burnt out or overwhelmed and just at your wit's end, then this book list is going to be for you. I've broken up the book list into 3 categories: self-discovery, self-growth, and self-maintenance. You can find whatever book is in the season that you find yourself in. I've curated this list with over 8 years experience as a licensed therapist in Arizona and as a life coach, coaching over hundreds of women who have asked me for a similar list in between our coaching sessions, just wanting to learn more. And I'm really excited to share this list with you and what has been helpful for them. So if you haven't already, grab a pen and paper, or you can just use the notes on your phone. Make a list of your next self-care reads. Let's dive in. Okay, so category number 1, self-discovery, understanding your patterns. Chose these books to help you learn about your patterns, your habits, your thoughts, emotions, and just discover more of you. The first book I have in this category is Soul Shift by Rachel Macy Stafford. This is a heartfelt guide of letting go of perfectionism and reconnecting with what truly matters in your soul. I read this during a time in my life where I was postpartum with my twins, and I was struggling with what's the next step for me. And I found this book to really help me reorient my mind towards self-love, self-care, and letting go of the perfectionist of being a parent, because there is no such thing as a perfect parent. Our kids will talk about us in therapy someday. This book came into my life at a really good time. The next book I'll put on the screen because I read it on my Kindle is Being Tired by Jess Connolly. The book explores why we feel exhausted and what to do about it. My favorite part of this book is that she doesn't group exhaustion and tiredness into one category. She groups tiredness into emotional exhaustion, spiritual exhaustion, physical exhaustion, and the different types of tired and the different types of recovery from those types of tired. I feel like I'm saying types a lot. Recovering from exhaustion is not just about taking a nap. There are so many ways to recover from exhaustion and being tired. So this was a really good one. The next book is How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole LaPera. I let my friend borrow this book, so that's why I don't have it with me. How to Do the Work does a great job in giving you a deep dive on how to break out of toxic relationships and start to love yourself again. And as a therapist, I totally endorse this book because it talks about trauma and thought processes, and it goes over a lot of categories that I really appreciate. Now, just a quick warning for you, I do recommend reading this book as you go through therapy, because it is a heavier novel in the sense that it's going to bring up things in yourself that you may never have known before. That's why it's in the self-discovery category on our list. I do recommend either working with a therapist or just being in a season where you can do deeper self-recovery work. If you are in a season where you can't necessarily hold space for yourself or have someone hold space for you in therapy, then maybe hold off on this book, but it is a really good one for self-discovery. The next book is A Subtle Art of Not Giving an F by Mark Manson. I'm going to put it up on the screen. I read this one on my Kindle every year because it's available in my library. It's a bold, no-nonsense book about living in your values and focusing on what really matters. And this book was written in 2016, so it's almost at its 10-year anniversary. In September of 2026, it'll be its 10-year anniversary. I read it every new year, and I think you'll find some really good nuggets in it. The author is also hilarious. So I think you'll find yourself laughing and be very entertained by this book. The next book is When Striving Ceases by Ruth Cho Simmons. I took off the sleeve because I thought it was just such a beautiful book without the sleeve. This is a faith-based book about stepping out of hustle culture and really embracing your imperfections. I really enjoy books written by Ruth because she writes in a way it feels like you're having coffee with a mentor, and I like that feeling of feeling like I'm with a friend and someone who is more mature and maybe 15 years down the road and has been there, done that, and is helping you learn how to really escape that self-proclaimed gospel of I can do it all, because the reality is we can't do it all. We need help. Whether you're a Christian or not, we cannot do everything without burning out. And for me, having faith in Christ is realizing that He's in control of my life. I can stop striving to be my own little God in my own life. The next book I'll put on the screen is It's Not Always Depression by Hilary Jacobs Hindle. This book unlocks your emotions and helps you understand your internal emotional responses a lot better. She teaches something called the change triangle, and I use this almost every single session as a therapist with my clients, and I use it to this day on myself because it's such a powerful tool to learn about your core emotions. So if you struggle with your emotions or you want to work on emotional freedom specifically, start with this book. It is so good. My last book in the self-discovery category is A Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine Aron. It's a must read if you've ever been called overly sensitive or you feel like your emotions are all over the place, or maybe overstimuli gets to you, like noises and sounds and lights and people. I come back to this one about once a year to really refresh my knowledge on being an HSP, a highly sensitive person. If you Google this book, it'll take you to her website where you can actually take a quiz to see if you are a highly sensitive person. So this is a great self-discovery book to help you out if you feel like you might fall under that category. So now we're gonna go into category number 2, and this is self-growth. You know your patterns, you know a little bit more about yourself and why you do what you do. How do you grow from there? So these books are gonna be packed with practical skills, tools, things you can take away that can better your life. The first book I'll put on the screen is A Self-Love Experiment by Shannon Kaiser, which helps you explore different ways to learn to love yourself and really honor your authenticity. Cool fact, Shannon was my very first life coach and person I went to back when I graduated college, my undergrad, and she coached me for 8 sessions and helped me learn and gain the confidence if I ever wanted to publish a book, learn how to let go of fear. I love this book. It's so relatable. Shannon shares just her own personal stories. And again, kind of like Ruth's book, it feels like you just have a mentor that you're going through life with. So love this book. Shannon, if you're ever watching this video in the future, I love you. The next book is Set Boundaries, Find Peace by therapist Nidra Twab. She's actually a very popular therapist on Instagram, and for a good reason. I love her squares. I love the education she puts out on setting healthy boundaries, and the book is really her Instagram in more depth, so it's nice to have a physical copy that you can read. I really like her book because it goes into the types of boundaries, the characteristics of boundaries, and ways to set them with toxic family members and friends. This is a really great book for growth. The next book is When Less Becomes More by Emily Lay. This book encourages you to simplify your life and find joys in the mundane. There's a lot of motherhood and homekeeping in this book, so if that's not a season you're in, it may not resonate completely, but I didn't have kids and I still found this book to be extremely helpful when I read it. I was newly engaged to my husband, and it really helped me plan for the future of how I want my home to be simplified and my routines. This is a great book for the readers out there that are overwhelmed, overstimulated by their home. They're aware that they may have ADHD, overstimulated, they're burnt out. This is a great book for growth on practical skills to simplify your home. The next book is Don't Believe Everything You Think by Joseph Noon, and I will put it on the screen here because I read it on my Kindle. This is just that classic CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, transform your thoughts, reframe your thoughts book, and I think everyone should read a book like this. Our thoughts create our emotions, which create our actions, and our actions create our life. And so I think reading some type of book and having specific growth and reframing your thoughts is critical. The next book is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gotelb. I don't know if I'm saying her last name right. As a therapist, I found myself cracking up, and as also someone who goes to therapy, it was just so relatable. Once you go through that self-discovery stage and you're ready to learn about self-growth, a huge part of that is going to therapy. So I wanted to include a book on here that would maybe encourage you to take that step, contact BetterHelp, contact a clinical site in your area, and take that step of growth, because her stories in the book are so relatable. The next book, I lost the sleeve, which I'm totally bummed about, but it's The Best of You by Dr. Allison Cook, and I'll put it on the screen so you can see what it looks like if you want to get it on Amazon. This is a faith-based approach to finding wholeness and true healing. It's the most cohesive, well-rounded faith psychology book I have ever read. I am all for leaning on God, but I also think that spiritual bypassing happens way too much in our Christian culture, and so it's great to see some from psychologists and therapists that are faith-based, kind of giving us a cohesive look that they can blend. Those worlds can blend. Now we're into category number 3, self-maintenance is our sustaining soul care section. Once you've done the work, these books really help you stay grounded, and it's like an oil change in a car. You're maintaining. We're just holding that growth, and we're growing even more. The first book is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. You've probably heard about Brene Brown. She's super popular in her TED Talks. I'll put them up on the screen. But this is a wonderful book because every single chapter has applicable practices called dig, like digging deeper, and they are totally doable. If you've done the work and you've grown and you're in therapy, this book is going to be really helpful. The next book is Good Boundaries and Goodbyes. I'll put it on the screen, by Lisa Turkhurst. This is a faith-based approach to holding boundaries. One of the things I loved the most about her book is she wrote it in collaboration with her psychologist who has a PhD. So she was sharing her personal story and her walk, which I love, while also bringing in the experts and the authority. And the reason why I put another boundaries book on this list, even though we're in the maintenance stage, this book is less about how to hold a boundary, but why you should. And I think that is very powerful. I am a recovering people pleaser. And for me, setting boundaries is the foundation of my recovery. And if you too are a recovering people pleaser, or you want to recover from people pleasing, this is a great book. I recommend reading Nidra Twab's first, Set Boundaries, Find Peace, but then I would look into Good Boundaries and Goodbyes by Lisa. The next book is The Body Keeps a Score by Bessel van der Kolk. And this is a classic and a deep dive into how trauma is stored into our body. I put this in the self-maintenance list because once you know and you've learned about yourself and you're growing, oftentimes you start to uncover these traumas that happen to you. And trauma work is deep work. It's usually work I encourage my clients to do once they've done a little bit more self-discovery so they can regulate through that trauma. But this is a great entryway. If you've thought about doing trauma work, read this book so you can learn and understand that when you're triggered by something that is traumatic, there's nothing wrong with you. It's because your body remembers. Trauma is not just what happened to you, it's how your body processed it. The last book is I Shouldn't Feel This Way by Dr. Allison Cook. She was also on our list earlier for The Best of You, but I love her books. I wanted to include this one in the maintenance phase because I believe that every year, every 2 years, we should read a book on our emotional health and connecting to our feelings, because when we hit a roadblock in mental health, and we all do, it's really easy to slip into numbing our emotions. They're just notifications that something up and we need to do something about them. This book will help you reorient your mindset that your emotions are not a bad thing. They're just something to explore and to add a lot of curiosity to. Whether you're starting your self-care journey or you've been at this for years, I hope this list really helps you and encourages you to keep doing the work. I know I am, and I'm encouraging you to as well. Let me know in the comments below, have you read any of these books, and which one are you excited to try if you haven't? And if you love cozy bookish content, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel down below so more people can find these life-changing books that can really help them cultivate self-care. Thank you for being here, friends. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!